All right, everybody. So, welcome to Lunch and Learn Monday, February 17th. We are working, this is our second in our series of focusing on getting more team. Okay, so we want to get more and more team. Sharon, make sure you have a good view of the speakers and stuff for the recording. Um, but what we're going to do is we want to go through a few things today. First of all, we're going to talk about the ways in order to share your business. Now, most people share their product pretty well, and especially within Campbell team, we usually it's called leading with the product. So the way all of us have been taught is we share the product, and then if somebody's they're enjoying their product, we might invite them to come on board to the team. And even we go so far sometimes with like Shelly Mackey's method as is to make them all, like she had that thing called the wheel. That's where everybody should be on the team in her opinion, and then she tries to get them to partner plus to save some money. Now there's a whole nother world out there, the Cortese team, which I do think the one of the business events even tonight might be Cortese team. I think somebody's got something going tonight. But check the flyers for that. But they sometimes, and we heard this at the boot camp a couple of weeks ago, leading with the business. Okay, so if you lead with the business, that's an interesting idea. We all kind of want people on our team, so why aren't we sharing the business more, right? You can't get where you want to go if you have goals if you don't have team. All right, so we need to make sure we're bringing people onto the team. And the cool thing about leading with the business, once we learn how, is that if imagine, sometimes people say no, right? We all get no's. If you lead with the product and you get a no, you're done. If you lead with the business and they say no, you just flip right over to the product and you still have another shot. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting concept. I do it sometimes. I need to get better too. That's one of the reasons why we're going through this is we want to get better at sharing the business. So with that said, step one to doing anything in this business is knowing why you want to do it. I'd love to have some people. We can always do a few people in the chat, but I'd love to have some people unmute and think through this worksheet out loud a little bit. The question number one is, what would you like this business to do for you? I'll start while you guys get brave. And I would say that, this business currently pays our bills. This is our only real income. I mean, we have little side stuff we might dabble in, but our last regular 9 to 5 paycheck, we transitioned out of that. That was my paycheck in 2015. And this has been providing everything for us. We just did a move up to Jacksonville. We got a new house. It pays our bills. It's great. It's great. What I would like it to do for me though is I'd like it for it to do a little more. That's the whole point of having a business isn't to scrape by and live check to check. The nice thing about a business is that nobody's putting a value on you. Nobody says you're worth 10, 20, 30, 50, even $100 an hour. It can be whatever you make it into. But not everybody makes it in business, right? I don't know if you guys watch Shark Tank or if you guys just know statistics on business. A lot of businesses don't work. Business is hard. I mean, ask Ben Lemasters. He's sitting in that studio right now, and he's the only one in there. That means he is not paying the bill right now. He needs people to come at 4 o'clock to his class, and then he'll start making some money. And he's always got to worry about, is that next person going to come? How do we get the re-enrollment? How do we expand our client base? Is the rent going to go up? Should I paint the walls, redo the floors? I mean, there's so much going on in a business, okay? It's not easy, but it's doable if we do it the right ways and if we really work at it, okay? So that's what I want from the business. What do you guys want from the business? Let me hear from somebody. Nalani?
Okay, I want from this business much more income. Residual, and like you, it does pay the rent, which it's not cheap, So that it's doing, I would like for it to be many, many, many times more. And this is important for me because it can be residual. It'll free me up even more to do the things that are really important for me, to me and for me, and that is to be with my family, to spend more time with my family, number one, and number two, to do philanthropic work.
Mm,
And to be able to do that, it's going to take a lot more money. So that's why it's important to me. It's also important to me to leave a legacy of philanthropy. And so that's that. And an extra 500 or 1,000 per month would make me smile more and encourage me to do more. It's not going to be the answer for me, though. The final
excellent.
answer.
All right. Well, let's hear from one more person and then we'll keep on moving.
I feel like you called me out, so I should probably speak up.
Thanks, Ben.
No problem. I am here in my business, and it did start from a garage. So I know the value of starting from nothing and building into something of worth. And so I want Juice Plus to do the same thing. I've known about it over half my life, and I've felt the benefits from it. And running a business here, it's like if your clients aren't interested, then you're done with them. But with Juice Plus, I have something else. Even if they're not interested in training anymore for whatever reason, hopefully an interest in their health lasts a lot longer than I can serve them. So we have it set up as nutritional self-defense, and it's a part of our routine to talk about with students.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. And Ben, I always feel bad if there's anything we can do. I mean, we're in the same town. If you want us to come down, if you want to do events or anything, don't feel like you're asking too much to tap into us. Okay? For real.
Okay, everybody heard it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And let's make a goal. Let's get an event on the calendar this week. Not to have the event this week, but it'll be on the calendar this week.
I understand. And then also just for all the Juice Plus team, I've talked about it in the past, but I'd love to share martial arts, even if it's the soft side like Tai Chi, and just do like a Juice Plus, everybody get together. And we teach virtually, so I would do it just like
That'd
this.
be great. That'd be awesome.
But if anybody wants to learn or work out and, like have that extra thing where we kind of come together, that's at least something I can offer a lot more than this while I'm still learning.
Great. Well, we can do that for sure. Definitely. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So, Renee, thanks for coming on. I just put a link into the chat. That link has the notes from today, what you're seeing on the screen, actually. So let's move into writing our business. So we know why, hopefully we know why we do this. And this is something that you should definitely think through because the why is what drives you. Nobody does anything in life unless they're driven to do it. Okay, there's too much rejection. There's too much difficulty in doing a business, any business, to not have a strong reason why you want to do it, and a dream and a goal and some vision for yourself. Okay, you need to see yourself as who you want to be, and visualization is a huge part, when it comes to like meditation and visualization. That's something that's part of the Miracle Morning that I do every day. It's just visualizing where we're going, having gratitude for where you are, but also visualizing where you're going. So let's work on, actually, I'm going to have Sharon do this because she's always been the queen of writing the business story. So this is the format for writing your business story. And you can just do this, and she just, the doggy wandered out. I think what she's probably going to do is just look at those first few lines, like years ago I was worried about, or I wanted to. I said yes because, and what I've experienced or what happens now. And then that's just basically your story, So they give you some examples, but we're going to want to either type it, or we should just say it. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Sharon, why don't you take over?
Okay, I'll take a stab at it. Well, I wanted to add a couple other things about what you guys have been talking about. Chris Drobes, I was actually transcribing her notes yesterday because I'm trying to clean up all my notebooks, which is impossible from all the lectures I've been to. And at the top of my notes, my action takeaway was tell business story to everyone. And so the way she says it is that you don't want to leave anything to chance, because what if that is a person that would want the business? You don't want to be obnoxious or anything, but it is part of who we are, right? So just including what we do, who we are, what attracted us. And Brandon Barber says the more vulnerable you are, and able to tell your origin story or business story, the better. Because a lot of us, we just go to solving people's problems. And he says, we're just posting all the time about gut health or something, but we need to share, what have we overcome, what challenges or obstacles, or who do we help? If we help doctors, then he says, be proud of that. So there's a lot that can go into your business story. And I'll just try to take a stab at it with this structure. But you can also use ChatGPT, which I did after I
Hey, Sharon, I'm
wrote down
sorry,
a
did you
bunch of
start the
notes.
recording?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So years ago, I was worried about staying home with my second baby and my first baby, but my first baby, my in-laws had said they would watch. When it came to a little while later, very quickly with the second baby, they're like, you're going to need to stay home. I'm like, oh, because they had committed to taking care of the first baby, but all of us were pretty surprised by the second. So, we had to figure out what we were going to do. And I really enjoyed sharing Juice Plus. I said yes to sharing Juice Plus because it made so much sense to me. And I loved the education. I loved that I was helping people. I loved the information I was sharing and that people loved it. And it made sense. And it wasn't something you could get at a store. It was something that was needed by everyone. So the business itself made sense to me, and the leverage of having reorders continue to pay me, and having team who were getting orders and getting paid in that way. So all of it made sense to me. And what I've experienced for myself and my family was not expected. I had had the perfect job. I had already, gone back to school for a second master's to become a guidance counselor, to be off, at a decent time with my quote school children when they would become school children, and to be off in the summers, and to be in line with Doug's education job. But that was not necessary. I had all the fulfillment I needed being home, taking care of the kids, and bringing in a significant income. So at that point, my mission became to help other mommies realize that this was a possibility. So
That was
I didn't
excellent.
keep
Well,
it
was I supposed to
simple,
give you
but
feedback?
no,
Oh,
I
okay.
just, we can go on to somebody else trying
No,
this.
that was great. That
Okay.
was great. I put in the chat, if you want to make a few bullet points for yourself, like so the bottom line, I tried to bold these. I might have over bolded the first one, but years ago I was worried or I wanted to, or I was worried about. And then you just fill in whatever. I said yes because whatever. I've experienced, or people that work with me. So I mean that line's put in there, by the way, because sometimes you might be brand new. You might be somebody who needs to make or wants to make a huge amount of money or have it as your main thing. But right now you're only making a certain amount that's, so then you a lot of times people will be afraid to share the business because they think, oh, well, I'm not making enough money. What if they say, how much do you make? Well, nobody asks that question. Only a fool would ask that. All right, only a fool would. So write down a few bullet points. I'll do mine a little quicker, and then we'll go on to the next person. But I'd love to have everybody, if you're available, to do this exercise. Okay, put on the big boy pants and be brave. write a few bullet points, but I'll just go. I don't have bullets, but I'll say a few years ago, I got to a point in my life where I was working super hard. I have built a great career in the field of education, but a few things happened. I lost my dad, and a buddy of mine who used to be a band director with me just suddenly died one night in the middle of his sleep. And it got me thinking, like, what is life really about? What am I working so hard for? Why am I leaving the house at 6 or 7 a.m. and not getting home till 6 or 7 p.m.? And then I'm so exhausted that I couldn't even like have energy and effort for my family. So I wanted to make a change. I wanted to focus on what really matters in life. And I said yes to joining Juice Plus because I had been around it for 10 years before that, and I had seen not only my wife, and I helped her along the way, but she was doing this full time. I seen her go from a car payment to a house payment to surpassing my payment, my salary, while when I would get home she's still in her pajamas some days. And it's like, what the heck, and I just realized that there's another way. I don't have to be a slave to the boss. I don't have to live that way. I can have a little bit more time and freedom and be a lot more present with my family, but have something I could build for myself instead of building somebody else's dreams. So what I've experienced is that, yes, that is completely possible. It's not easy, but it's something that is doable if you really put your real effort into this. And I don't mean like you're spending like 8 hours a day on it. I mean, you really become who you need to be in order to have success in this. Okay, it's not about punching a time clock. So you can't just show up and do your DMO. Oh, wait, I'm teaching you guys now. I got to do my story. What I've experienced is that it is completely possible. And I've been able to be present for my kids and my family, investing in the relationships that matter the most. And I've seen us build an amazing team of people that we love working with and traveling. And it's just been incredible. That was a little rambly. Oh, well. Have to make my notes. I'm going to make notes while some of you guys do it.
I'll go.
Good.
Okay, so years ago, I was worried about my health. My husband and I were going through fertility treatments, and it was very difficult. And this was something else I added on to improve my chances of getting pregnant. I said yes to sharing Juice Plus because it did make sense to me, and because as a pharmacist, the research was impressive. And also being raised with a single mom, along with my sister, who already was part of the business, I knew the value of saving money and making extra money. So I wanted to pay for my product and maybe buy some shoes. I never planned to have this become my full-time income, but what I've experienced is that it is possible with this business. And I started to become unhappy with my full-time job and wanted to share and help people better with their health and teach them healthier ways to live their lives every day, not just on medication. What I've experienced is this is entirely possible to fit into your schedule as a side hustle, a part-time job, or even as a full-time job, creating more time freedom to do the things that you enjoy and be present for yourself and for your family. And I would add something in about meeting all of you and that kind of stuff.
Awesome. I'll go. Years ago, my husband and I moved to Florida from New York, and frankly, we were living off our savings, and we were looking for ways to increase our income. And I said yes to sharing Juice Plus with others because it made total sense to be able to help people get healthier and make money at the same time. And like Melissa, I was blown away by the research because I had never seen or heard of a company that has a nutritional product that has that kind of research. And so it's a lot more now than they had then. And what I've experienced is is manyfold. It's not just one thing. One thing I've experienced is the freedom of being able to know that my rent is being paid every single month. And sometimes when I don't work so much, it's still coming in because it's residual. I've experienced being in the hospital and not working at all and still having an income. And and I've also experienced being around people who have the same kind of heart. Um, People who are positive thinking. It's a new world, another world of family that I've experienced. So what I see for myself and for my family is that I'm building a legacy with this business because we can do that. And you can make the kind of income that you can leave to your family.
I can go next if that
All right,
works.
thanks, Renee.
Sure, no problem. About 5 years ago, my husband had 4 different autoimmune diseases pop up out of nowhere with no family history. And so I was very concerned about that, in addition to the fact that he was on chronic high blood pressure medication. And I had a friend who loved me enough to share the gift of Juice Plus with me. It's more of a holistic opportunity because we had been taking over-the-counter vitamins and things and just not really seen any progress. And so I knew that I loved her and trusted her and wanted to go ahead and follow through with at least ordering our initial order of Juice Plus. And what I realized is that within 6 weeks of starting that, my husband's blood pressure returned to normal. And 9 months later, his blood work for his autoimmune had all resolved. So what I realized is that I wanted to make simple steps to include healthy, simple steps to incorporate healthy into our busy schedules and to make sure that we did not return to medications. Again, incorporating just more fruits and vegetables into our diet and taking the capsules was something that was very simple. Again, like most couples, we're very busy. Next steps for us were really just to take simple actions of cleaning up our diet, moving from that standard American diet into something that's more. What I really appreciated about Juice Plus was not only the gift of the product, but also the research and the support, the ongoing events that we could tune into and learn more and grow ourselves and become more educated. And the gift of sharing, that what was given to me was much easier to share with other people. Not only did I appreciate getting the sales profit back on our Juice Plus product, but also to know that when I'm speaking to somebody, I have an opportunity to impact their life as much as my friend impacted mine.
Excellent. Good. Somebody else want to try? There's some good ones. Everybody's going to be getting intimidated. But you can do it.
So I'll say one just to take a stab at it.
Thank you.
Mine comes up when if a family's telling me that they're struggling to pay for my services, they say I have multiple kids, or if they say something about income because I'm already selling a product and I met them because they're looking to invest in their child's future. So it's very easy for me I might lead with the product initially to say like, hey, have I talked to you about nutritional self-defense because your kids are learning this? But also I think it's a way that there might be an extra way to help your family. Do you have more time to talk about it? And honestly, I just leave it at that. Because then I'll get into the weeds with a whole bunch of stuff, and it's usually between classes, and short and simple is better. Are you looking for another way that might be able to help your family? And if it came up because of money, I say there is a financial incentive to try it. But usually I say, just like martial arts, it's small steps that could lead to a big impact, and I'll show you the first few small steps if you want to. And that's it.
Yeah, but at some point you're going to talk to them and you're going to have to share your story. So it's important to learn this type of a format to be able to say, years ago, and you can say how you found out about Juice Plus and why you started sharing it, and then and what your experience has been. And that's basically what this format is. You want to take a stab at that?
My experience with the business has not been very successful, but that's because of my own life. So I'm going to pass on taking a stab at that right now.
I think you
And
have to say my hope for this business or
Yeah.
what I've seen with other people, is that when they are consistent or whatever. You don't have to say that, but you could say why you think it's a good opportunity for somebody else.
So Sharon, can you give an example, like a role play?
Okay. So I
Following
did
the
just give
format?
some examples. Okay. For Ben?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or somebody that hasn't had a lot of success yet.
Okay. I would say, years ago I was worried about just income in general, and prices are going up, and it's continuing, prices don't change. I said yes to sharing Juice Plus with others because it fits what I do. And, part of exercise and being healthy is also good nutrition. And Juice Plus is the cream of the crop with the research and everything, something like that. And then what I've experienced is that the people who are involved in the Juice Plus business are very credible, and there are great doctors involved and great business people. And I'm excited to recommit and work to build this business further, especially now that my mentors are in town. And I know it's possible if I am consistent to create a reliable recurring income, because Juice Plus is the number one selling nutritional product in a capsule in the world, and everybody needs it, and children get it free.
So in that last part though, Sharon, I wouldn't say I know it's possible for me to make a full-time income. I
Oh,
would say I know it's possible to at least offset the cost of your products and while getting the health benefits, but even to make some extra supplemental money as well. Like you don't have to always talk once you get going and say
yeah.
why you like it. You don't have to talk about you in the money story. Well, let's say you want to go ahead.
I did. I just had a thought for Ben, just from what if that's okay.
Yeah.
Like you said, you might talk to parents in between class and it's quick. One thought, and then I'll just share what I like my own experience. Like, just you could always start with, well, years ago, I was worried about blah, 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 like why you started Juice Plus, and maybe even why you started the business. Like, maybe I started because it really made sense to me to be a health, I forget what you said. And I decided to offset my costs by becoming part of the business. But we can't really go over all that now. Maybe we can chat later and then you tell your full story. But what I kind of heard you say was how I felt in the beginning, because being in healthcare, I thought I needed to know everything. Like I thought I needed to know all the answers, all the studies, etc. And the end of my story is that like we didn't have a baby. So here I'm like, take this product. I took it for a baby. I don't have a baby. And it was like this huge thing that I didn't know how to talk about it because it hadn't happened until I like dug deep and like figured out I didn't have to know everything and like what it did do for me. So that was I just wanted to share from my own experience with you. If your business may not be where you want it to be, but there's still a reason you said yes. So maybe just focus on
Yeah.
that.
And that reason doesn't even have to be financial. Sometimes it can be the product and what it did for you, and I just wanted to share it with others, that kind of a deal. Or it could be just
A
about
lot of
the
times it is that I wanted to share with others. The fact that Juice Plus is free for children is amazing. And
Yeah.
that's why I feel comfortable having it in my business. And I don't like the phrase shoving it in people's faces, but I stand behind it enough that I'm willing to at least put it in front of everybody and say, if you don't know what this is, you should know what it is. And this year it's more about If you've never said yes or no to me, I'd just really like to ask you that question and get your answer. Because it's been around a lot, but I don't think I've put it right up to them and been like, I need you to at least acknowledge this.
Yeah, and that's an area of growth for a lot of us is even um, some of us do it a lot with the product, but we don't share the business. And then we wonder, I wonder why I don't have a bigger team. Well, you can I mean, if you share the product, you're going to get customers. If you share the business, you're going to get team. It really is that simple. But some people might say, well, I'm not comfortable sharing the business. Well, imagine how many times you've practiced sharing the product. And then you've shared the business about 1/100th as many times. So therefore you feel a little awkward with it. Okay.
That's
So
true.
let's move on, kind of
Very good
finishing.
reminder.
Go ahead.
I said that's true. That's a very good reminder.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's a business. I mean, that's what you guys got to remember in business. We have a strategic plan. We have, like data that we follow. Like, what if you had a boss? If we were your actual boss as your upline, we might have requirements like Benjamin. Okay, you're in your performance analysis, your new performance report. Your prescription that you must follow now is to share the business 15 times a week and follow up 15 times a week and blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to do an analysis of how many times you did it and we'll evaluate you. And I mean, that's what a boss would do, right? But you don't have a boss in this. So unfortunately or fortunately, it's a double-edged sword not being your own boss because sometimes, you work for a really difficult boss, sometimes they can actually have more productivity than a not difficult boss. The ultimate boss is one that's a great leader and inspires you to produce a lot of activity. But a lot of times you guys let yourself off the hook too easily and you wonder, oh, I don't know if this business works or not. Well, it's working for some people. You know what I mean? So don't be too easy on yourself. All right. So now let's say that we're sharing our story. Let's say we have our story. Now that's not done, by the way. We all need to be working on our story all the time and getting better at it. But once you have your story down, what are you going to do? Well, the notes, we'll put these notes into the YouTube as well, you guys, and make sure that everybody has these notes. First of all, when you talk to people, this is some basic networking is form. What do you do? How do you even talk to somebody? You talk about family, occupation, recreation, or motivation. Okay. Get to a point where you're talking about these things, and then you'll have something to talk about. Sometimes we get into conversations and it just feels awkward. Melissa, I'd love for you to share a little bit because I know you're a networker, but you're also somebody who worries a little bit about what to talk about, especially in a networking type situation. And I know you've spent a lot of time doing this. So share a little bit about how you just start up conversations with people in those environments where you don't really know them. What do you do? I know sometimes you just get an hors d'oeuvre and go into a corner, but other times you do it. So tell me.
I usually let people start. Some of the advice I was given, because when I started doing more networking last year and people would be like, what do you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I do. Because it's a weird question. So you can always turn it around. Oh, well, tell me about yourself. Oh gosh, I'm going to be honest. I actually think I'm not good at asking questions.
Can I interject for a second?
Yeah.
So you know what Julie has done in the past? If somebody says, "What do you do?" She would go right into her product story. Well, you know how we need to eat lots of fruits and vegetables, blah, blah, blah. I work for a company who has figured out how to put them into capsule and chewable form, even free for kids. And then you can go from there. So that's an easy transition if somebody stuns you with that question, because it is a stunner.
Yeah. And I've gotten better, and I'd like to focus more on what I can do for someone versus I'm a pharmacist, I'm a health and wellness advocate. I've heard Julie also say I have a home-based business, and just hey, I help people get healthier when they are feeling tired, constipated, having skin issues, something else. But I usually just ask people what they do for work, what kind of I haven't mastered the financial thing yet, and I think I struggle there sometimes. But just kind of letting people talk, and if they throw out those little nuggets about like, "Meh, I'm always tired. Oh, I'm always on the run," and trying to ask more questions to see if anywhere I can talk about what I do and kind of tweak their interest.
So
Um,
a networking environment, it's going to be very natural for the first question to be O instead of F, right? It's going to be like, what do you do, Melissa?
yeah,
Instead of family. If you're at the dog park, you're going to say, oh, you guys, do you live here in Eagle Landing? Oh, really? Do you have any kids? Do you have any
Yeah.
other pets? That kind of stuff. That's family. So just to kind of summarize, because that was really good what Sharon and Melissa hit on. Stephanie Getz taught me this years ago, and that was so if we're networking and Melissa, you say, so what do you do, Doug? I mean, even as an NMD, I still get like, oh, what am I gonna do? Okay, you have two options. Number one is say, oh, well, my wife and I have a business. We work from home. And just like you said, you just leave it there. That's the Stephanie Getz method. Okay. Now when you just leave it there and you find out, are they going to say, well, what is your business? Right? If they don't, and they just start talking about themselves, that's already a red flag that there's some kind of a narcissist or something. Like, what kind of an animal would not even follow up and ask a question curious about that person? So, I mean, I think that's a good one. But another thing you could do is not even go into your product story. What if you went, because I think that's a little weird. You ask, what do I do? And I start telling you about fruits and vegetables and my cardiac health. I'm gonna and I realized that eventually she would get to the business as well, and that's why I started sharing it. But what if you literally did your business story? So, Doug, what do you do? Well, I used to be a school administrator, but I wanted more time freedom. After a few life events, I wanted more time to make money, not just a salary. So my wife was doing this business with Juice Plus, and I saw her having success. And I went to a conference. I got to meet some of the people, and I just found this to be such an amazing community with amazing products that are backed by research. And I saw people having success with this, and I thought, hey, if they can do this, maybe I could too. So I went in, I started doing it, and I started doing it more and more. And next thing you know, I quit my day job, and I've been doing this full time for 10 years now. And we've been able to experience a whole different kind of a life with freedom, a great community. Our health is better. All the while, we've been building our business consistently over the years. It's just been amazing. What do you do, Melissa? So I just told my business story, and it was like no big deal. I didn't overthink it. So and knowing about form is really important, because that way we could keep the conversation going. So I could say, Melissa, what's up with you? You married? What's your deal? And she would tell me about her husband and da da da. Well, what's he do? And because I get into occupation, what do you do? And well, what do you like to do outside of work? That's recreation. What about health stuff? You like health stuff at all? If they didn't mention recreation, anything healthy, I would do that. And then you may not want to talk about financial situation. I always thought that was weird. But go into motivation, like figuring out like what really motivates them in life. Okay. Now, Nalani, I know you're a great networker as well. Can you give us a couple of tips of how you start up conversations?
One of the things, especially at a networking business, I just ask them first, how you doing today? And you'll be surprised what comes out. It depends on whether they're having a good day. They might just say, hey, it's a good day. It's a good day. And I'll ask them, tell me more about what you do, because, we only get a quick second to say who we are and what we do. So tell me more about that. And then from what they say, I can formulate another question. And this is something I'm really just working on, because I tend to be one who will make an assumption and get what they do, and then and not ask enough questions. So right now I'm practicing asking more questions based on what they do. And then when they turn it around to me, and I have always been talking about helping people get healthier, not about the business. So now I want to, and I'm beginning to, starting today, talk more about what I do business wise. And when I do that, I'd say I'm helping people. I have a team of, I have an international team of positive thinking people who are making residual income and making a difference in other people's lives by sharing Juice Plus. And then,
Yes.
if they ask more questions, then, back and forth, but really listening more.
Yeah, and that Melissa said a similar thing. So we listen and we look for a connection, right? We look for a place where what we learned in Ditch the Pitch is we're not lecturing them about what they should think. We're listening to what they do think and looking for an opportunity to talk about what they're interested in, as Dale Carnegie teaches in How to Win Friends and Influence People. You speak in terms of other people's interests. You don't talk about what you're interested in. You look for a connection point like freedom or going on vacation, like, or if they talk about something like oh man, I love going on vacation too. That's one of the things I love. If you've already talked about the business, let's say you're networking. One thing I love about our business is it allows us the opportunity to schedule great times to travel for business and see our team members around the country. It's awesome. You find those relatable situations and then you go into a deeper conversation. Okay. And that's how we do it. Eventually you get to the point, if you haven't already shared your story, maybe you did just I have a business and they asked, and then you're talking a little bit, but you go into your business story and you share it, both lifestyle, finance, you share your personal transformations, your health journey. So yeah, Sharon, anything you'd like to add? We're kind of landing the plane here. We have some other ideas on the screen.
Yeah, we might need to move those to a different time.
Yeah.
Just
Can I
remember,
say really quickly?
Oh
See,
yeah, we gotta do
Kira here made me think of how the conversation went with her when I was talking to her about getting her into the business, because she was all about her personal business with herbology and iridology and didn't have time and da da da. And then I just said, well, this can fund your real dreams if you want that. You can use this to make money to work your other business. And I know that really resonated with her.
yeah, and I said to a doctor, because it seemed like he wasn't quite getting it. I said, so like making an extra $1,000 a month would not be appealing, which I actually thought was the truth, the way he was acting, and he had lots of other things, offices and everything. He's like, I wouldn't say that. So you never know. So what I was going to say is it takes a number of exposures and conversations. It's not a one and done conversation. You're leading people down a path of what you know and believe it would be good for them, or that they're a good fit. So also seasons change in people's lives. What they say now no to, or I don't know, you just keep exposing. You invite them to events, you have another conversation here or there, you give them little tidbits, you give them another video that has whatever, and over time it might make sense to them. I've been mentioning it to this one girl who's a nurse, and now she's pregnant, and I mentioned it again to her today because she's not going to stay with her regular job, and I'm not saying we would replace her regular job. But I shared my business story and how when I had babies, things changed and I decided I need to stay home, especially after the second baby. And so I shared that in a text, and I said, it might not make sense to you now, but when you're home with the babies, it might. So she's like, yeah, it might then. Anyway, because I said, can I schedule a call with one of my mentors. And so she's not ready for that yet, but it's an ongoing conversation. Just know that some people it'll make sense right away. And it's not always going to make sense to everybody who's ordering Juice Plus, but we need to make it part
Yes.
of what we offer.
Absolutely. Well, we didn't quite get through everything. Let's just save it for next week. Let's keep the conversation going about adding team, focusing on growing our businesses. Of course, we're going to keep adding customers. Everybody does a decent job at that. Okay. But tonight is one that I definitely want to see. This is a little bit late for us East Coasters. This is 8 p.m. Central, so that's 9 p.m. Eastern. But Stacy Turner joined the club. So we're talking about, I don't know if she's talking about getting qualified or if it's just about doing the business, but she's going to be great. So I'm going to be on there for me to get more and more ideas to share with team. Okay. And I want you guys that are watching this, a lot of you guys are leaders on our team. I want you to, when you think about leading your team, I want you to think about what we do. Okay. I want you to think about, I know that I'm already communicating with many of your team members and sending them project broadcasts and doing a Facebook thing. Listen, I don't do that because I'm trying to like be the one that's in touch with your team. Okay. I'm doing it because I want to make sure they're being communicated to. Okay. And I'm willing to, I've had certain leaders that say, hey, could you take so-and-so off the list? Or, hey, I'm going to handle this or whatever. I'm talking about like NMD level people. But ultimately, if I were you and I'm looking at your faces, I'm looking at Nalani, Melissa, Shakira, you guys that have team, you should be, think about it. I over communicate. We communicate the same thing on text, the team group, in Voxer. If you're a leader, you're probably getting some of the same messages in like 3 or 4 groups sometimes. Why do we do that? Because it's really that important. Okay, it's really important to lead people. So as a leader, make sure you're leading. That means tonight, if Stacy Turner's giving a vision for growth, financial freedom, and expanding your impact, you might think, "Ooh, I'm going to go on that." But isn't it way more important that you call all your team members today and say, hey, why don't you go on this call? I'm going to be on it. Because what if your team member got a vision for growth and expanding their impact? Then you might become, that next NMD that you're hoping to be. Okay. So I don't know how to say it the best way, but guys, we got to lead our people. Leaders are about influence. Leadership is influence. That's what John Maxwell says. All right, there is some other stuff tonight, 8:25 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Dr. Tamara Sachs, that'll be a nice little filler until 8. This is the Cortese group, who tends to be a little more business focused. I have my prompt party Tuesday night. Here's another thing, Thursday. It's supposed to just be for, I think, QSSC and up, but I put it in here anyway because I'm not going to hold back from you guys. Come on. All right. And then Thursday, there's another heart event. This is all in the newsletter. Invite you guys to check that out. It's in the team group. It's in Voxer. Shakira, people want to be led. They sure do. They don't even know it sometimes. But if you look at like sociology and psychology, people do want to be led. They tend to gravitate towards strong leaders, even if the leader is crazy and saying weird things. I'll let you fill in the blank with who that could be. It could be historically or current leaders, but they are powerful, aren't they? They sure are. Doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. The power comes through the communication and the message and a consistency of message. So make sure you communicate with people and lead them. You guys have a great day. We'll see you later.